Welcome to Inspired Women, Amazing Lives podcast, where we seek to thrive, flourish, and celebrate amazing women. Kimberly Wiggins here, and we are hosting inspired women who are sharing their lives and stories so that other women may know that the journey to your amazing life is definitely within reach. We are here every week to share resources and information that will help you along the journey to being that inspired woman leading an amazing life. Remember to like and comment, and most definitely share these episodes with another woman that you admire and one who truly inspires you. Or simply share with someone you would like to inspire. Enjoy. Welcome to Inspired Women, Amazing Lives podcast, where we help to inspire women to be their best selves, to bring their A game so that they can live the most amazing life for themselves. And my guest today has a real treat for you. She will really help you tell you how to do that. I believe with your mind, body, and soul. We have as a guest today, Miss Joanne Angel Barry Colon. Welcome, Joanne.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to share all that I'm going to be sharing.
Awesome. So Joanne is a certified personal trainer for more than 30 plus years. She's the owner of Holistic Fitness, formerly known as Fitness R Us. She's an author, a publisher. She's the host of Joanne's Healing Within TV show. Oh my gosh, she is definitely a powerhouse. And she is the creator of Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast Deck. Woo!
Yes.
That's a mouthful, but we're going to touch on all these things. And she is married and has a beautiful daughter. She's been in the health and wellness industry since she has been 15. And over the last 10 years, she's blended her personal training practice with many holistic healing modalities. And now she provides holistic services for most of her clients. Her mission is to help educate, heal, and transform lives with movement, nutrition, and meditation. Welcome, Joanne.
Thank you again. Nice introduction.
Yes, I mean, you have done so much. Now, I always get people started with their story. I want to hear your story, a little bit of what brought you to this point.
How long is our show?
Okay, give me the abbreviated version, because I'm sure as we talk, we'll touch on a lot of it anyway.
Yes. Well, what brought me into what I do, which is my purpose, which I think I discovered that very early in age, somewhere between 9 to 15 is when I really had my passion of wanting to help women specifically at that time change their physical appearance with weight loss and body fat analysis and all of that, and just getting into that field. And that's been my passion since I've been in the field as young as 15. And over the years, especially within the last 10 years, I did a lot of studying in regards to clients reaching their goals, getting to that weight loss of whether it's 25 or 50 pounds and reaching that goal, but unfortunately not being able to sustain it as a lifestyle. And as a certified trainer for as many years as I've been, it became very frustrating to see that my clients were not sustaining their results. And I needed to figure out why. And through my own journey, my own personal healing journey, I've come to understand that emotionally speaking, until we really address the emotions that may very well be attached to what we call the weight, we are never going to really complete the goal of sustaining the weight off until we tap into those emotions. And that's where the term release weight comes from in regards to the whole mind, body, and spirit perspective, is getting the client to understand that There's more to it than changing your eating habits and exercising. One really has to dig into those emotions that they've been carrying for most of their life, if not all of their life, and get that understanding of what is connected to, so we're not dipping into using food as our source of making us helping us feel good. Emotional eating, we call it in, reference to nutritional world, emotional eating, to avoid emotional eating and learning how to fuel our body rather than feed the body. And what I mean just by that is learning to put nutrients into our body, so we're fueling our body, so we have the energy to do all the different tasks that we're going to do, as opposed to feeding our body just to feel good for the short term, and then afterwards sabotage ourselves because we're like, why did we do what we just did? So that emotional baggage we need to let go of. So going to your question to what brought me into my field, what brought me here, is just that, is that I want to be able to help women and also men, because men too deal with this issue, get to that place where they can really step into their goals that they're looking to accomplish, and then actually have the tools to maintain that goal that they reached as a lifestyle, not just for short term, and then finding themselves having to go back onto that diet so they can get back into that specific weight that they felt good at. My goal is to teach them how to sustain it as a lifestyle, so they're never dieting and they're always going to feel good about themselves.
Very nice. Oh, Joanne. Now, you're all up in my business today. You really are, because I was in a short-term relationship, and in that relationship, he ate horribly, so I followed suit.
No.
Yes, I did. I was trying to get him to eat better, but at the end of the time, I cracked. So I gained about 15, 20 pounds just doing that. And
wow. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm trying to release some of that as well. And I've done okay over the last few months. So this is right in my wheelhouse. And then in addition, I just came back off vacation. So I relapsed on vacation because we were doing graduation and I was with my girlfriend and my sisters, and it was happy food time.
Party heaven.
Oh yeah. Once I broke the floodgates, I just let it all hang out. So, I just ate everything you can imagine you can think about. But anyway, so this is right up my alley. So now I know you said you work on helping women release weight, and I so love that term, release versus lose. Tell us about, I know you've touched on it a little bit, but what kind of specific process do you take women through to help them release weight?
Okay, well, to start off with, when I sit with the client, we'll go through a series of questions. And theoretically, in my book, The Power to Release Weight, are a handful of those questions. Okay. And it's getting into the deep-rooted first question I would ask the woman is, or even the guy, but we're specifically focusing in on women. I would ask them, at what age did they start noticing the weight coming on? And once they came to that understanding of what the age was, so let's say, argument's sake, we'll say 16 or 17. Then I'll ask them, do they remember what was going on at that point in time in their life? What did a trauma occur in reference to maybe a parent went to work, or maybe a parent passed away, or maybe their parents got divorced, or maybe something was going on with them. Maybe something happened to them. And then once we can get them to that place of understanding and reflecting on what was going on at that point, then once we have that information, then we start speaking about that. We start actually getting to that place of whatever it is, whether it's something that took place for them where they need to forgive themselves and also forgive the other person, or whether they had a loss, whether their parent had to go to work, so they now felt like they were being left alone, or maybe their parent divorced, and now they have to decide, like, okay, well, now I feel like I got to take sides, or I'm only able to see this one, whatever the reasons are. So get into that place where, again, I think a lot of it, the big mission is the forgiveness, forgiving oneself, and then also forgiving whomever else is involved. And once they can get to that place of forgiving, and then recognizing all the other emotions that's attached, maybe there could be some anger, some guilt, some resentment, frustration, abandonment, you name it, it could be in the series. So once we tap into those questions, then after that point, I will go with them through what I call a Reiki treatment to realign their energy, to get them to start to feel good about themselves, regardless of what was going on with them at that age. And once we get to that place, and a Reiki treatment for each person could be a series of times. The average person I might work with, based on this particular situation, for about 6 to 12 weeks. So it could be 6 weeks to 3 months where we're working into this, so we can let go of whatever those emotions are relating to that weight. And what I often find out is that, once we tap into, let's say, that first age where the weight started coming in, then there's other things that contribute to it as well. So it's not always one particular period of time that created that extra weight. That could just be the starting point. And then all of a sudden they develop these habits that they turn to food due to either, again, as we mentioned earlier, addressing whatever emotions they need to fill. So if they're feeling sad, they may grab that ice cream. They feel lonely, they grab the cookies. They feel angry, they'll grab whatever they're grabbing, their devices. And teaching them how to change their patterns. So when they get angry, ask themselves, what are they angry about? Who are they angry with? And have them journal about this experience at that moment, in that time. So they're now becoming aware, they're becoming more mindful of what they're experiencing emotionally and mentally at that present time. And they're keeping a journal. And as they become more aware of themselves and their emotions, regarding what might be triggering, because again, let's understand that when one is going through this whole process of tapping into these emotions that they have suppressed for so many years, because let's face the reality is we suppress them. If something happened to us when we were 16 and now where we are 30 or 40, we're not even thinking about that anymore. We've suppressed it. We don't even want to talk about it. So it's not, when I work with a client, it's not a matter of that the treatment goes 1, 2, 3. Sometimes a treatment plan, I can sit with a client for an hour and really get nothing from that client, because they've suppressed this so deeply that we really have to get to that place of being able to become vulnerable and also trusting me as their healer to help them through the process and letting them know they're in a safe place and I'm here to help them through their journey so they can work on releasing the emotions. And within time, once they get to that place and they break the barrier of feeling more comfortable with me, within time, we go through that transition of tapping into the emotions, journaling them out, recognizing when they show up again, when they're older, and then making changes in regards to, when they do feel angry or upset, they're not going to use food to make them feel better. They're going to replace that with, well, you know what, I'm feeling angry, so I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to go take a 20-minute power walk so I can change my internal energy so I feel better. Or rather than a 20-minute power walk, I'm going to do some journaling about my feelings I'm feeling right now and what's causing it for me to feel this right now. And who's responsible, to start off with taking action of being responsible for yourself. Understanding that what you're feeling in this moment is all about you. And rather than putting it out there to like, well, why did this happen? Why did this experience take place when I was 16? We're going to let go of the why. because there's really never an explanation to the why. No one can really give you that why answer with something like that, because when we think about it, whether it's related to your parents getting divorced or you going through some sort of traumatic experience yourself, or your parents having to work. It could be as simple as your mom had to go to work and she's no longer home when you get home from school, and now it's like you're left to take care of yourself. So there's no why answer. It's getting to an understanding that this is life and this is what happens. And even like when it's a deep trauma, whatever it might be, whether it was an assault or rape or whatever it might be, there is no why. And you'll never be able to get that person to say to you that they're sorry for what they did, because sometimes they don't even know why they do what they do. And really getting into that place to be able to understand that. And it's learning how to forgive the situation, regardless of if you get a why answer, because you're doing the forgiveness for yourself so you can actually heal for yourself. And I think it's important for people to understand that when we forgive, it's never about forgiving the other person for them. It's really forgiving the other person for yourself, so you're not carrying around that heaviness, which results back into that release of the weight. Because if you have all this anger and frustration based on your past, that literally sits within your body. That's the weight we carry. And I think people need to understand, when we use the word weight, what is weight? When we think about what is weight is the emotional, the psychological, the mental, and the physical component, and the spiritual for that matter, component of what we carry within us. And that's the weight. The food that we're consuming, yes, grant you, if we are feeling in a good place, if we're liking ourselves for that day, we're going to eat healthier. When we're really not liking ourselves, or let's say someone annoyed us, we're going to look to go and grab something that's going to taste good for the moment, because we're looking to feed that emotion. But we want to get to that place of understanding that we want to retrain our brain that we don't need to grab that something that tastes good so we can feel good. We can grab something that is nourishing and then do some other physical activity that's going to make us feel good, whether it be that walk or that 20-minute workout or journaling or putting on some music and listening to music. Whatever it is that's going to lift your spirits up so you're not taking on more weight into the body. And I think today's industry, today's society, especially in America, is we're all about, our weight. We're all about, we have to be this certain image, certain body weight, and it's so silly, because it's like, what is weight? You can have 3 people weighing the same weight and we all look totally different.
Right.
So to have that as the gauge, I think needs to be faded out. I really think women specifically need to stop they really have to start fading out the whole concept of, I need to lose weight. No, you don't need to lose weight. What you do need to do is to release the emotional stuff you hold on to, so you can actually start to feel good within the body you are in. Because we only have one body. And whether your body size is a small, medium, large, or extra large does not make a difference. The concept is to be healthy in that body you are in and love the body that you are in. So if your body is completely straight, you want to love that. If you have curves, you want to love that too.
Right.
And that's the thing I think we need to get across to women today. It's not about your size. It's about how healthy you are and how you feel in the body that you are in. And by allowing yourself to transform that gives you that release, because once you start feeling good about the body you're in, that alone will help you release the weight, release the pounds, because you're no longer carrying that heaviness of the stress that we put on ourselves. And understanding stress is a huge component to weight gain. And right in the belly, which is where most people put their weight on, is in the belly. And that's stress induced, because when we are stressing, our body only puts weight on in the belly when we have stress weight. And a part of our stress is that we're so overly concerned about what we look like in our clothes. And oh my God, I'm not the right size. And I go outside and people are going to think I'm heavy or I'm too thin. We have to let go of that whole process of that stress that we put on ourselves, so we can very well start releasing the excess weight that we hold on to. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this or if the viewers are, but when we think about the word obesity or overweight, metaphysically, what it means psychologically is that we are building a psychological wall around us to protect us. That's the metaphysical explanation to what obesity and overweight means. And that's where the whole concept metaphysically, where I came to using the word releasing weight versus overweight or weight loss. It's to get people to understand that it's a psychological thing that we're building that's showing up physically as body weight. So just helping that client get to a place where she can develop different habits so she can start releasing the weight that she's been carrying. But really more importantly is helping that client dig deep into where that weight came from. And once she can really get to that place of where that weight came from, and then do the process of forgiving and going through all the emotions that's attached to it. You know, I'm not saying let's throw the emotions out and never recognize them. What I am suggesting is focus in on what the emotions are attached to and experience them, you know, live with them for a little bit and then discard them, release them out of you. And then replace those emotions with something positive so you feel good about your body. And you'll also start to feel good emotionally, which then again brings you to releasing that extra weight that you're holding on to, the heaviness that you carry. So it's very powerful in reference to helping the client get to that place so they can begin that transition and transformation to living a healthier life, feeling good in their body, and really addressing where that weight came from.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Joanne. Yes. And I love how you said so much there. I can't, oh my gosh, there's just so much you said there, about releasing weight. And, one of the things I wanted to point out was that, I love the way that you are tying it to the mindset, the mental disposition of that person. Because there are a lot of reasons, I'm sure, why we choose to release weight based on something that we're feeling. You know, and if I applied that to myself, you know, I would definitely, I didn't have anything that happened in my childhood where I noticed I didn't gain this weight until I was 40.
Okay. Well, so, which when you shared with me when we first started the show, or before we started the show, you, as you're saying, you put on the weight when you were in your 40s. And when we think about the stages of life for women, we call perimenopause, and then we have menopause. And that's one of the things that can happen for women is that their bodies start to change, their hormones change, and their metabolism changes. And when their metabolism changes, because of the metabolism changes, we're not able to utilize the calories the same way we did when we were younger, like in our 30s and 20s. So because of that, we need to become more mindful that I think every decade, we have to change the way we eat every decade. Because again, let's face it, when we're 20 years old, we're eating what we want and we're not really caring about, you know, the calories so much because we're moving. Because usually at 20 years old, you either just finishing college and you have a new job, so you're constantly active. You know, by time you, let's say 25 to 30, you might be building a family at that point. And now you have, you know, different responsibilities as a mom where you're not going to be as physically active for yourself. You might be doing different things at home, and for that matter, making a note you're preparing food for the family. So you might also be picking, you know, as you're preparing. And I actually read this somewhere or heard this somewhere that moms who do the cooking, what they really should do is when they are picking is recognize that that's their meal time. So rather than sitting down and actually having a meal, that if they're doing their picking, that's the time they're eating. So they should not sit down and have a meal afterwards because they've done their picking. And within picking, you can very well consume about a serving of something in your picking and not even realize how much you've consumed. And because of that, new lifestyle you have as being a parent, as a family, those extra pounds creep in. And then, of course, your life takes over, your activities become even lessened. And because you have less activities in your life, you're not calorically burning calories the way you did when you were 20. So yeah, I can definitely see why the average woman at the age of 40 could very well put on 15 to 20 pounds because their lifestyle changes. And it's very simple, so it doesn't necessarily have to be so much about their childhood that brought in the weight. It can definitely be different stages of their lives that brings in the weight, because like I said before, I think we just need to become more mindful that every 10 years or so, we have to evaluate that, well, I can't eat the same way I was eating before. And as you get older, even let's say as seniors, when we hit our 60s and 70s, I mean, our body cannot absorb the same way, the calorie intake as we used to beforehand, because our body chemistry changes. So the idea is, I think a lot of it is really going back into maintaining a certain amount of physical activity in one's life. So this way here, as your lifestyle changes, where you're becoming less active, we want to make sure we maintain activity, so there's not less activity in our lives, so those extra pounds don't creep up. But I think the key word here is really becoming more mindful that, as your life changes, as your role in your life changes, that could very well, contribute to, to some weight gain. And as you mentioned, about your boyfriend or husband, you mentioned.
It was a relationship I was in. I'm no longer in that relationship. Yeah.
With the relationship, it's all about, the other person, how they eat, and being mindful that you want to make sure that you don't eat that way. So it's just really becoming mindful of your eating habits, and then also becoming mindful of the different stages of life that women go through regarding, puberty, perimenopause, and then menopause.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I fully understand that. I know it's been some changes for me. Now, you mentioned when you sent me over your information that you talk about 5 core principles that help women to reset their energy and raise their vibration. Do you want to share that with us, so we can get an idea of what those principles are about, and how, we're always looking for ways to reset our energy?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're very basic core principles. The first core principle is, if you're not active, to getting active, to getting physically active, to incorporating a minimum of 20 minutes to 30 minutes of, I like to say, weight training into your day. And that weight training could be strength training, circuit training, CrossFit, whatever it is. But for women, you really want to incorporate weight training into your routine, because the weight training is what's going to actually help to metabolize your body, and to also help you build more muscle tissue. And as women in their 40s, we start to lose bone density and muscle tissue because of menopause. So we really need to develop something that's going to help us maintain our bone density, and also help us maintain muscle tissue, because the more muscle tissue we have, the leaner we are, the less fat we have, and the more our body is going to metabolize calories, that throughout the day that we can actually enjoy eating, because our body is utilizing the calories differently when you have muscle versus fat. So that's one. Second one is also developing a meditation practice, because as we develop a meditation practice, that meditation practice is going to help you learn to de-stress your everyday stresses. And when I talk about a meditation practice, you don't have to meditate for hours at a time. Meditate for 5 minutes. And meditating on your breath. So it doesn't have to be this drawn out visualization, which is what I love, but it can just be focusing on your breath. And let's face the reality of life, we all need to breathe. And many of us do not breathe properly. Many of us breathe very shallowly, where we're not breathing to the point where breath is going through our entire body, and allowing us to circulate that breath throughout our body so we can feel good. Mm-hmm. So having a meditation practice, 5 minutes a day, just on the breath, and then they can develop many other different styles of meditation that's more exciting and fun, other than just breathing. And breathing is necessary, because with no breath, no life. You do not have life if you stop breathing. And many of us, unfortunately, are holding our breaths throughout most of our day because of the stress. So we have to just breathe, okay? The third practice is also developing good eating habits. And good eating habits, I don't mean developing a diet plan. I don't mean developing, restricting yourself of certain foods. I mean balancing your eating plan. So when you do go on vacation, you're not worrying about having to come back home and, as you said it earlier, detox from your vacation. Oh. Now, when you learn how to eat balance, you can go on vacation and continue to eat healthy and not worry about coming home and that you've put on X amount of weight. Now, understand too that depending on where you go and environmental and the atmosphere, what you might be actually putting on is just a little water weight just to the change of atmosphere, because that plays a role. And if you are going away on vacation and you're going on a plane, the plane itself, based on the change of atmosphere, causes what is it called? An enhanced weight, a water weight. So you will put on water weight when you go away on vacation because of that change. But that's easily to reduce down once you come back home, because then once you're back home, you're back in your normal environment and atmosphere. So you won't have to deal with that so much. So just be really mindful of eating balanced. So it's not about dieting. It's not about restricting your carbohydrates or not eating fat or overdosing on protein. It's about balance. So if you want to have that occasional ice cream, you can. And then you want to make sure you eat healthy the rest of the day. And I truly believe that you can eat something that you enjoy every single day. It doesn't have to be you're going to limit yourself to, okay, I'm going to have this on Sunday, and the rest of my week I'm going to be really, really good. No, if you want to have ice cream on Monday and then you want to have cookies on Tuesday and you want to have a piece of cake on one, that's all fine. But the rest of your day has to be balanced. And you also want to contribute that to exercise. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not moving, your body's not going to burn those calories. And if you're not going to burn those calories, that's where your whole process of the weight coming back on. Mm-hmm. So that's the third principle. Fourth principle is I'm a firm believer on journaling. You know, like pen to paper every single day, specifically at night, so you can actually journal how your day went, how you felt in your own body, how you felt in regards to what type of exercise you did for that day. Did you get your exercise in? How was your nutrition for that day? So you're becoming your own coach, so to speak, where you're really writing it all down in reference to what you've done. Did you do your 5-minute meditation? What went really well in your day? Did you do something different that you don't normally do? Putting it all in the journal. So this way here, at the end of your day, you just reflect on that particular day. So journaling is important as well. And then my fifth one, rest. Mm-hmm. New Yorkers, for many of us, don't rest. We constantly go, 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 go. From the minute we wake up, we check our phones for our emails. We go to Facebook, we have to post something. We go to Instagram, we got to post something. Wherever else is social media, we have to do our posting. So mm-hmm. From the minute we don't even get out of bed yet. We're doing this in bed. Mm-hmm. And then we're doing it throughout the entire day until we go back to bed. Mm-hmm. I think we need to really implement time in our day where we rest. And it doesn't mean you need to actually take a nap, but just a moment where you just sit quietly, just with yourself, just to allow your body to recharge itself and rejuvenate itself so you can move on to your next task. And that rest, I would say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and those who really, really want to rest, half hour to an hour. Give your body that chance every single day, not just once a week, or not just when you feel like, oh my God, my body's so tired, I just need to take a nap. No, every day implement this into your routine, because I feel it's a part of our self-care. So we take care of ourselves on a much better level. And we're putting time in for us. We're not constantly going. And during that rest time, it's learning how to even come away from the phones, come away from the emails, and literally just doing nothing, not watching TV, not reading a book, not checking your emails, absolutely nothing. Just sitting quietly with your eyes closed or just sitting with your eyes open and just resting the body. So those are my 5 core principles to helping to become more mind, body, and spiritually connected with oneself, so we can help to decrease the emotions that we need to decrease the stress that we need to decrease, and get to a better place so we can really help ourselves release the weight that we want to release, that we're not carrying all this extra stuff with us.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Those are 5 important principles. And I've learned that over the years. And I try to be mindful of that. So audience, I hope that you caught all of that. She gives a lot. She has given us tons and tons of information, tons and tons of things to kind of think about. And I am guessing, Joanne, that a lot of this information is in the books that you've written. And you've written 2 books, The Power to Release Weight and Healing Within Meditation.
Yes.
So I'm guessing a lot of this information is in your books.
In the Power to Release Weight, yes. In the Healing Within Meditation, no.
Okay.
Yes, the Healing Within Meditation, which is this book here, is a book that's it was designed based on information I was receiving when I was awake, but in a meditative state. I can't even say meditative state. It was more in reference to, as I would drive, I would hear my mother give me all this information. And it was happening on a regular basis. And then finally I just decided, I think I need to start pulling over and writing what she's saying, because she would catch me every time I was driving. And I don't know why it was during my driving point, but that's when she caught me. So I would pull over to take notes. And before I knew it, I had about 30 different types of things that I've written, which at this point, I didn't really even know they were meditations until I sat down and shared it with somebody. And when I shared it, they said to me that those are meditations. I'm like, oh, I said, well, why is my mother giving me this information? And I had spoken to my astrologer, and he had told me in the past that I would be writing a book. And of course I was like, yeah, I don't think that's happening. Don't write, don't put pen to paper. It's not me. The only thing I do is journal. And long story short, that's where my book came about. So there's not 30 meditations. There's actually 16 meditations in my book. And each meditation is designed to actually help the reader to get to a place where they can decrease stress, they can get rid of the emotions that they're carrying. In fact, there's one in my book which I really love. It's called I believe it's called the Blue Bucket, and it's all about visualizing a blue bucket when you're on a beach, and sitting on the beach and taking all the thoughts that do not serve you, the things that make you heavy, and placing them one by one into this bucket, and then taking the bucket to the water and immersing yourself into the water with the bucket, but letting go of the bucket and allowing the bucket to float. And as you're in the water, you're just resetting and realigning and raising your vibration in the water by connecting with your chakras. So by the time you come out of the water, the bucket is so far away that you've known you released it because you're not even able to touch it anymore. Yeah. And now you're resetting your energy with these new affirmations of what you are now feeling. So it's one of the, it's something to help people, women, realign themselves to what they now desire into their lives versus all the things that was weighing them down.
Nice. Awesome. Wow. Joanne is just like a powerhouse of information. So definitely check out these books. I'm going to check out these books as well, because I keep saying I need to do more meditation, but I don't ever quite make it there. So
yeah.
But yeah, I am definitely going to check those out. Now you have a 4-week offering that's coming up where you are actually offering a class for women. Tell us about that.
Okay, so did we discuss this in the past? Because you just got to refresh my memory, because there's a handful of classes that I'm offering, and they're all 4 weeks.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the one on to learn how to regain clarity, reset energy, and raise vibration with your balance, numerology, cosmic energy forecast deck.
Okay, that would be my card deck. Yes, that's my card deck. And let me just show you these beauties because they are just that. And actually, I believe you're a friend of the woman who actually helped me design my card deck, which is Rosie Batista.
Mm-hmm.
My card deck, let me make sure I have them upright. Okay. And with the card deck, what the 4-week class is all about is to help those who purchase the deck learn how to use the deck so they can give themselves a reading. Because as you give yourself a reading each day, it's almost like for myself, first thing in the morning, I shuffle the cards and I ask as I shuffle, what do I need to hear for today? So for example, very quickly for you, what would you, asking yourself what you would need to hear for today. So say that just out loud, what you would need to hear.
What would I need to hear for today?
Okay. And what I would do is I would teach them just to shuffle, and then we're going to pull a card. And what you would need to hear is higher education. So in regards to when we do a reading, this is the affirmation. And what does that actually mean for the person for that day? Like, you know, are they going to be tapping into maybe going back to school, or are they going to be taking their healing modality to a different level? Will they be doing, let's say, their service as a teacher? So just taking it to a different level. And then also their chakras involved. So the pink is all about the heart center and self-love. So how can you apply self-love into your day for that day? And then numerology-wise, it's 36, so it's about 9. See it?
Oh, yes. Okay.
The numerology is all about 9. So for that particular day, what will you work on to transform or let go of or declutter? So in my 4-week course, I teach the women or whomever purchases the cards how to use the cards so they can get clarity from whatever they need to hear. And they can have a specific question when they shuffle the cards. It doesn't have to be, what do I need to hear for today? They can ask a specific question. I teach them how to read cards for others. And I also teach them how to do a variety of different types of readings, from, let's say, a 1-card reading to a 3-card, 12-card to a 30-card reading, where it gives them all this information where they can do let's say a 1-month forecast for each day, and then journal the information that they receive so they know ahead of time what to expect and which chakras to focus in on, and even what numbers might be popping up for them to give them information. And how this comes into gaining clarity. The clarity is a reference to the question you're asking, you get in that guidance. And the number usually that will show up. So when you ask a question, you may all of a sudden start seeing 9s everywhere you go. And that 9 is...
Oh, you went on mute. Oops. That's okay.
That gives you the clarity. And as we gain clarity, it also helps us to reset our energy because we're focusing on the chakras as well. So we're tapping in on a specific chakra. So you had said before you have a challenging time getting into a meditation practice because of your schedule. So you could just focus into one chakra, and that could be your meditation for the day. So it's going to help to reset the energy. And that by doing that, and if every day you're pulling a card and you're getting a different chakra color, every day you're raising your vibration.
Oh.
So that's how it's all incorporated to help the person who has the cards how to use them and how to really use these cards effectively so they can gain the guidance they're looking for, so they have clarity in reference to whatever it is they're looking for clarity on. They're very powerful tools.
Yeah. It's funny that I was surprised when you pulled that and it said higher education.
Yes.
Because I was just thinking on Sunday, and I've had this same thought pattern from Sunday to this morning. I woke up with the same thought pattern, that, you know, I wanted to go back to school and get my PhD.
There you go. Confirmation.
That's so funny. And I was like, you know what? I need to do some research because I don't want to accumulate any bills for this. So I want to see if I can find some scholarships.
Yes.
And yeah. Awesome.
Yes. Confirmation. I love it. I love it when that happens. Confirmation. You weren't expecting this. This was not planned. This was like, you know. let's show up and tell you what this all means. So yeah, that's perfect. I love when that happens. And then in reference to that 9 energy, the 3 and the 6, which makes the 9, the 3 is about what you're communicating. And that 6 is how you are healing yourself to do what you're going to do. And going back to school brings that self-love to you, that joy. So it all blends together. So see how that clarity resets your energy, and then it's going to help raise your vibration?
Yes, very nice, Joanne. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Now, we're about to conclude our session for today, but Joanne has given us so much good information. You can find Joanne at Barry Colon fitnessrus.org, and I'll put that website on her podcast page. She also has a free gift for you, which is a free 15-minute clearing treatment. Give us a quick update on what that 15-minute clearing treatment is.
Well, the 15-minute clearing treatment is we will dive into one specific area of the person's life that they're looking to clear. So let's say, for example, because I had one done, I wanted to clear something regarding my career. So we'll focus in on that particular question, and I'll ask a series of questions with that person, and I'll either be using my pendulum to find out if it's a yes or no answer, if it's even their issue that they're carrying, to help them clear whatever blockages they're holding on to that's preventing them from moving into that situation that they want. Such as, for example, your situation about wanting to go back to school for your higher education and not wanting to endure the extra expenses. You definitely will not endure the extra expenses as long as you believe there's a way for you to do this. And a lot of it is when we need to clear something, it's because we have doubts of whether or not what we want to do is for us, or do we deserve it? That's what the whole clearing process is. And it's, again, 15, 20 minutes, couple of questions, doing some physical work with a pendulum, and just tapping into the deserving level of what it is you want to do. And after the 20 minutes, we've cleared it. And then I check back with them within a matter of 6 weeks to about 8 weeks, so about 2 months. I check back in to see how their process is going since the clearing treatment. And if we need to do another one, we do, because sometimes that happens. Some people will clear right away, and there's no additional work. And some people, there may be another couple of sessions they might need in order to continue clearing, because there may be so much more deeper involved.
Wow, this is nice. I may take you up on one of those clearing treatments. I've never done that before. And one of the things that Joanne does is she uses a lot of different modalities. She uses Reiki, she uses chakra balance, crystal healing, sound healing, and aromatherapy. So she knows her stuff. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Joanne, for being here today. I will make sure that I put on my podcast page how to reach Joanne, what her website is, her social media, and a link to the free gift where you're calling her to schedule an appointment for that. And it has been, oh my gosh, this is one of those podcasts you will want to download and listen to again and again and again, because she has tapped into some really serious things here, some things that are just really, really important. Even though I mentioned earlier that I didn't have any emotional attachments or any emotional things when I was younger, I did have some when I was older, and I believe that also contributes to the fact that, I started gaining weight later in life. Because my mom and her sisters has this long history of diabetes, heart attack, and stroke. And I don't want that to be my story. I'm petrified of that. And I think a part of that is when you said that, Joanne, it brought some realization to my mind that I may not be releasing what I need to release because I am stuck in that emotional thing of, oh my gosh, I don't want that to be my story. I do not want this. I freak out every time I gain a pound. So
exactly. And that would be a great example of what you can use to work on clearing, is that fear of what they've carried. Doesn't necessarily mean because it goes back to family history, because again, I truly believe we have, as the society, we have to change the whole protocol of the family history. Just because our parents had high blood pressure doesn't mean we're going to have high blood pressure, because now we are much smarter than they were years back. We are more aware that as long as we eat better, exercise, meditate, and decrease the stress in our lives, these are ways to, and rest, these are ways to decrease all those illnesses and disease that come on. And then understanding too, when we think about illness and disease, those are the physical symptoms that show up based on the emotions that are not being addressed. So, and I mean, we can have a whole show about that in itself, but that's, we also have to understand that. So as long as you are not carrying any of those physical symptoms that have not been addressed, you will not attract those physical symptoms, you know, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, or cholesterol issues. As long as you're not physically holding on to any emotions that have not been addressed, those physical symptoms won't show up. And that's really what it comes down to. Physical symptoms only show up when emotions are not being addressed. And that's the same way when they do show up, that's the way we release them. Because by addressing the emotions that's attached to that physical symptom, we heal that symptom. We're not treating it, we're healing it. Right. And that's a whole nother conversation we can have. But it was a good point you brought up, and something that we could definitely work on clearing to help you get rid of that fear, so you could begin your process of releasing the weight that you're holding on to, because I do believe that's a major contribution to why you're having a challenging time letting go of your weight. I don't believe it's related to menopause.
It made me think about that. And Joanne, I'd love to have you back at another time. I'm going to get your book. I'm going to read it. I'd love to do a review on that book and have you back at another time to kind of help us through that, because I know a lot of women are definitely having the same challenge. Now, Joanne, as we conclude this show, I'd love for you to leave my audience with one action item that they can put into practice today to help with anything they've heard on the show today.
One action that they could put for today, one action, and a very simple action, would be incorporating a 5 minute, and they can do as little as 1 minute meditation practice of just breathing. And because your card was pink, the chakra, what I'm going to suggest that they all do is, as they focus in on their breath, I want them to focus in on this beautiful pink bubble of light coming in to help them bring in all the newness. And they could do this for 1 minute or 5 minutes. That's all it is. Just sitting, nothing big, no big deal, just sitting quietly and no distractions. 1 minute to 5 minutes of just breathing in from their nostril down to their feet and just visualizing this beautiful pink light, and then feeling that energy come right back up, and doing that for a full minute of meditation just for today.
Oh, nice. I'm going to try that myself.
Yeah.
I've got time today in my schedule, so I'm going to sit quiet for a minute. I've not been good at sitting quiet, Joanne. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful action item for today. I'm not good at sitting quietly.
What I like to add with that, just to give them a little homework along with that, once they've done that, whether it's 1 minute or 5 minutes, I would love for them to reach out to me to give me their comments of how it felt for them, what they experienced from it.
Oh, nice. Yes. And her information with her email will be there on my page. So you can definitely reach out to Joanne. That's really good. I'm going to do that too. And I'm going to reach out to you and let you know how I felt. I'm going to really focus on that, because like I told you, I can't sit still. This is the only time I can sit still. So thank you so much, Joanne. You have given us so much good information that women can actually use and they, if they're listening to you and you're so passionate about it, you can hear your passion come through. If they're listening to you, they can get a lot of information out of this. I know I have already. So
well, thank you so much for letting me share and be a part of this today. It means so much to me, and it's just part of my mission to, again, educate, heal, and transform women's lives so we can live better, healthier lives.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to thank my audience for showing up today and meeting Joanne. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this episode with another woman that inspires you and you'd really like to improve their lives. Thank you. Until the next episode. Bye. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Inspired Women, Amazing Lives podcast, where we help women to be truly inspired to live their most amazing lives. Please subscribe to the podcast to be notified of new content every single week. Feel free to like, comment, and share with the woman who inspires you the most. I hope to see you on the next episode. Goodbye.
Wild safety in the whisper of my sea.